another PPP today. We're going to do PPP on temporary crowns. So PPP is our pre-patient procedures. These are things I expect you to have done on something fake like this before you get into the patient's mouth. And that's our sheet where you sign off 10 of them before you can get out in there. So today, temporary crowns. Let me show you everything we've got. All I've done is taken one of Epic's boxes, you know, with that came with the crown, one we've already trimmed, and I pulled out from that this guy that closes, okay, the one that's just alone for fun. Their pre-impression that we already took. We've now learned how to take pre-impressions from our pre-impression video, and there's that one, plus a cotton whatever that, those are tip applicator, I don't know what that is, and one of those guys, I forget the name. So okay, and some Vaseline. Vaseline is actually really important. I have the crown just to kind of try and compare at the end, but I don't really need that. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some, I'm just getting some of that Vaseline and we're putting it on everywhere. Wrapping it all the way around the edges of that and the top really good. You got to get plenty of Vaseline on there in all the edges, otherwise it's going to glue to the tooth. Okay? Now we're ready to fill it in. So let's see, this has got to be this way. I don't even know what tooth, I didn't look, but we're going to be filling just by looking. Okay, that matches up on there. Okay, so that's the second tooth from the back, second tooth from the back. Whatever tooth number it is, there it is. We're going to make a temp from there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our temporary stuff and we're going to fill it out on there about that far. Then we're going to take it and put it in here. You got to leave the tip in the material at all times or you create air bubbles. So you got to leave the tip in there, okay? And fill it in. Then all we're going to do is place it on our... Oh, you know what's funny about that? I think I did the wrong one. No, I didn't. It goes this way. Okay, so now I'm just going to squeeze it down, right? We're squeezing it down all the way. Matter of fact, I should have done it on this other one, then we could have kind of bit down, so I'm going to cheat and do it that way. So I'm actually kind of creating a mouth to where they would bite down like normal. Okay? So I'm just going to hold that here. It takes about a minute to a minute and a half to have that set, and we'll bring you back when we're ready. Thanks. Okay, so we're now back spinning. I don't know, maybe it hasn't even been a minute since I poured that. What I'm doing, come over here, videoers. What I'm doing is I can see here, I'm feeling that with my finger. There's the first part I laid. That's not set very good because the material's bad. That's why I do it. But over here, the second part, it's ready. Okay, so back on here, I'm actually just going to pull that off. Okay, so I took it off, and because I did Vaseline, it came off, and now it's in the mouth. So typically I have a tray here. I didn't use it. I take the PFI and pop that out. Okay, so now it's out. There's our temp. If you look, it has a really good copy on the top and the sides. Okay, now we're going to trim it. So I want to show you a couple things I do want to explore. Let me go grab it. Go ahead and pause. Okay, I've got my Explorer. Let me show you here. I'll come back. I got two videos going, so I'll come back to the other. But if you can look real close, I can see the margin there. That's the trick when trimming a temporary, is being able to find the margin, because that's where I'm going to trim to. Okay, so coming over here, you can see me wrap up into right there's the edge of the margin. Now if you can't find that margin, you come find me and I will show you, because that's critical. If you don't find the margin, it's not going to fit good. Okay, so now coming over here, we're going to trim it. See, just get the best view you can. As I trim, I'm going to give myself light. I don't know if you'll be able to see good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smooth round edge of that, and I'm going to put it along So I'm trying to show the cameras. I'm going to put it along there. And I'm going to work my way and trim until I get to the edge. So I'm just going to trim it. Let me do this kind of doing it backwards, so it'll take me a little longer, but I'm going to trim. Okay, pause. I'm going to get me a better one of those. Go ahead and pause. Okay, I actually went and got a new burst. That was a good thing to see anyway in a training video, because if this thing is dull, you're going to be putting too much pressure and too hard on it, and you'll never be able to find the margin. You've got to have a good burr or it doesn't work. Okay, so again, I'm just trimming on the edges. See how much easier that cuts? Right up to that, right up, sorry I had to look a little bit, right up to that edge. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way along. I'm kind of doing without seeing, so hopefully you can kind of... Okay, I'm going to look a little bit. Now I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it in the video or not, but I can see a little edge there. So I'm going to actually trim that. Okay, and I can see the edge all around that thing, so I am going to work it. Now the other thing that's cheating a little bit is I can kind of tell by looking here how close I'm getting to the edge of the tooth. Just by looking on the front of that tooth, I can tell how close I'm getting, because it should come straight down, right? Now between the teeth, now this tooth is the buccal lingual, so here's where the contacts are. The one key is when you trim, I don't want to trim away the contact. Okay? So if you look, kind of see if you guys can get a sideways view of that. There's a little ledge there and a little ledge there. And between them there is the contact. I'm not going to trim there. I'm going to trim that edge off. I'm going to trim that edge off. But between it, I'm not going to touch. Sometimes I trim off the top. But I'm not going to touch right there, because that's the contact of the tooth. If you do, you're going to open the contact. Next thing I'm going to do is trim down here and kind of smooth that way. Okay, and I'm looking underneath. I can trim down there. But again, I'm not touching the contact. Okay, and then we'll come up here. That thing bugs me. I'm going to take that little corner off. And we're up in there, around those edges. Same thing on the other side. And now I'm going to trim that edge off. Okay, now that probably was hard to see because my hands and things were in the way. But let's come back over to our model. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to just try it in. Okay. Now when I've tried it in, it should slip right in real easy, because if you remember, it's an exact copy of what they had. So we don't want to touch, if you don't touch the contact, it's going to fit right on. If you mess with the contact, it's not. Or if you leave it open, see how where the contact was, I kind of trimmed the two edges of it. That allowed this to be nice and smooth. Okay, come back down and look at it. Now what we should find, this is good because our impression didn't get all the way down. So we're going to be able to repair it too. What I should be able to do is take my burr and come all the way right like that. I shouldn't feel any catch. I should be able to ride this all the way down without a catch, and I am there. It's just perfect. But if you look a little closer over here, there's a space. There's a space right there. If I kind of pull it up, there's a space. Now the reason that space is there, and I just kind of wondered when I was trimming, we did not get, and that's I think going to be the hard part with you guys doing on this model, is I just didn't get this down all the way. Now in the mouth, if you put it in, you have them bite all the way down. If they bite all the way down, it goes all the way down. If you have enough material, it goes all the way down. When you guys do it on these typhodonts, you're going to have to push hard down. I didn't do a very good job of that. Okay, so come back. Let me show you. This is a good example of I could have either over trimmed that out, or we didn't get a void. Either way, there's a void right there. If I leave that void there in the mouth, what's going to happen is the gums that are down here are going to grow up into the void. The gums are going to fill in that spot. So when they do, and we take the temporary off, I'm going to have to cut the gums away, and those people hurt the whole time. They hurt because the gums get infected and they get in there, And those people have temporaries that hurt them the whole time, the whole 2 weeks. So I am going to have to fill that spot in. Okay, now we look to the other side. Same thing happened there. If you notice, we just didn't get our material down. So I'm going to have to fill that in, which is good. I'm going to show you how easy it is to fill it in. Now I can see as I'm looking on the mesial and distal, we got a good fit there. I can see it, but we're open here. Okay, now if I were to take that out, I'm going to take that back out, and I'm going to put it over on this one, which I usually don't like. That's why I didn't pick it. Well, I'm not going to show you that because it's not going to work for you. Guys are done. Okay, go ahead and pause it, because what I'm going to do, don't pause it yet, you paused it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some flowable composite. That flowable composite's I'm just going to put it right in there. I'm going to actually re-Vaseline it. And then we're going to put flowable composite in there and light cure it. It has to only light cure like 5 seconds. And then we'll retrim those edges. I'm going to do it there. And I'm going to do it there. Okay? And then we'll go until I can do that everywhere. Okay, so go ahead and pause. Okay, so I've just got some more Vaseline. I'm going to make sure that's Vaselined really good around where I'm going to add. And not too much. You know, if there's so much on there, then that will actually replace it. But I'm going to put it on there so that it doesn't stick. Okay, I'm putting that back on. And I've gone and got some flowable composite. I would match the color, whatever. This was an A1. That's an A1 material. So I've gone and gotten, I didn't look. I can't even tell. Hopefully you go match and get an A1 flowable as well. Okay? And then, get in where you can see in there. I'm just going to add it in the hole. Okay, I've added it in that hole. Switching sides, we're going to add it in this hole. Okay, I'm going to light cure it for 5 seconds. Go ahead and keep recording, but it might be sharp on your eyes. If you need to look away from the video, that's okay. Just going to light cure in each spot. And I'm coming on the back too. Okay, good. Now I'm going to leave it here for a second, teach one more principle. Because if the other thing, you can either have it under trimmed. Okay, come on back up to me. You can either have it under trimmed, like over trimmed like that, or a void. And that's what we just saw. If it's that way, the gums fill it in and it hurts all the time. The other thing that can happen, let me zoom back in on this. Now where I just added, it's over, right? It's poking over the top and poking out. Now if it's poking over the top or out, then what it's going to do is it's going to hit into the gums. It's going to be too big and poke the gums. Now if it's poking the gums are going to be red, they're going to be sore, and they're going to bleed, and it's going to hurt again. So if it's in the gums, it's going to hurt them, and it's going to bleed. So either way, if there's too much material or not enough material, it will hurt the patient, and it will bleed. And those patients are going to be miserable the whole time. And then when it comes back, those are the times when I take the temporary off and I go to trim it. Those are the times the gums are way red and bloody and bleeding everywhere, and it takes forever, and the patients are really sore. And those are the times it's really hard to seat the crown, because the gums are so red and swollen. The reason the gums are red and swollen is because either that temp was over trimmed or under trimmed, and it didn't fit. We want this temporary to fit just like a regular tooth, just like our crowns. We take our x-rays at the end of putting a crown in to see that the crown fits just nice and snug against the tooth. Well, these temporaries have to be the same way, or their gums are going to be swollen and bleeding and red, and it's going to be really hard to see the crown. Okay, so come on back. Now I'm just going to take this off. Okay. I cheated and I took the tooth out of their mouth. Okay, now let's see if I can point out on here. Look again. See if you can zoom into that. You can see again the edge. So I'm going to come back and trim the outside away there on both sides. You can see the edge again. I'm going to trim that away until that's gone. Okay, so you can come over back by me. Now I've added some. I'm going to trim the edge away. If you guys can see it again, I'm going to... And I've gotten so close here now, there's just kind of a flaky edge. See how I can just pop that off? Good, just a little flaky edge. Now I'm going to make it smooth all there. When it pops off like that, I know I got right to the margin. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. I think I got that way thin. I don't know if you can even tell. But I should be able to just pop that off. See, I did. I just popped that off. Now I know I'm right on the right edge. Okay. Now I've added. Now when you add, it's never perfect, but it's really close. So now I'm going to put this back on, see where we're at. Now I should be able to, yeah. Okay, we come back to it. I should be able to take this Explorer and come up and down everywhere. And I can. Look at that. I can come up and down just like a regular tooth. Should be able to do that on the other side. Pretty close. I over-trimmed a little bit there. Pretty close. A little over-trimmed there. So that's not awesome. We're good in the mesials. Over-trimmed tiny bit there. And tiny bit there. Okay. Okay, back up to me. So regardless, that's what you're looking for when you make a temporary crown. I passed that one. I had a lot of problems. We didn't fit it on there good. We had no too much open space. I had to add the composite to it. Didn't quite ledge as good. That would be good enough for the patient that they wouldn't have sensitivity and pain, and so I'd pass that. But when you do this, I want them perfect. I want 10 perfect ones, and then at the end, when you come to me after you've done 10, then you come to me and say, Dr. Doman, I want to pass it off, and I'm going to watch you make a temporary crown. And when you can, under the pressure with Dr. Doman, make a temporary crown that fits good, all those margins everywhere, then I'll let you do it in the patient's mouth. Okay? Thanks so much. Good luck. Go make them.
Some bright morning when this life is over,